Have you ever considered what life might be like in Bahrain? Well, if you live in Chicago, you might know a little bit more than you're thinking. Welcome to part 23 of the United States might as well be 53rd world country stacked up in a trench coat. Bahrain is a small country on the developing nations list. They have a fraction of the population and maybe 5% of the GDP. And for context, the Chicago area's GDP is 75% of the GDP of the state of Illinois. As always, that makes this a whole lot worse. Because Bahrain, to be such a small country with so much less money, you guys have a very similar infant mortality rate as well as maternal mortality rate. And it's crazy because Bahrain, on average, would have way less doctors per capita than you would have access to in the Chicago area. Same thing with the schools. For them to have 5% of the GDP, the Cook County literacy rate for adults, it's estimated that it's maybe 75%. 25% of adults in Cook County have trouble reading at an adult level. Bahrain, with 5% of the money to use, is boasting a close to 100% literacy rate. And unfortunately, with 60% of households making less than the 100K you need to live comfortably in Cook County, and over 80% making less than the 200-something K you need to live as a family of four, you would have a better time in Bahrain at or below the median income. In Bahrain, you can anticipate a median income of around $2,000, but that is a place where you can rent something for $400 a month. If cost of living is even $1,000, an extra $1,000 a month or 50% of your income left over after paying for your expenses on a median income is not something that happens in Chicago. For the Chicago area to generate $800 billion of the $1 trillion GDP of the state, it just makes you wonder where all the money is going. Starts with a C and rhymes with gross domestic production. Corruption. They pay enough money in police corruption and misconduct settlements to fix the healthcare system and to fix the education system. Especially when you look at a country with 5% less money doing all of that. It doesn't just go with the police. There's legalized theft going on. You guys have something called the TIF program where they'll take a area or a neighborhood's tax revenue and freeze it. And then the additional revenue is supposed to go to things like schools or public goods, services. All this led to was $500 million being diverted away from Chicago public schools. And now they're scrambling trying to fix a 75% literacy rate. The theft and extraction of resources that we see within the Chicago area, it leads you to similar outcomes of a country with 5% of the GDP. The city of Chicago is corrupt to the point that they have similar outcomes to a developing nation. And obviously, I do not say all of this to somebody living in Chicago right now to tell you to up and move to Bahrain. But I do present this information just to ask this, which place sounds more developed? Because in my opinion, it is not the city that makes up 75% of a state's gross domestic production, but somehow can't find a way to put that money towards improving health outcomes, education, cost of living, affordability, you name it. Put your city or state in the comments if you want me to do yours next. We're covering all 50 states with this series. Shoot me a follow if you want to see when I do yours.